How's it going, everybody? And welcome to another edition of the Hoop Check Podcast Series. I'm your host, Chris Farmstead, and today we have a very special guest coming back onto the podcast. First time in the studio, we have my man, Connor Summers. Connor, great to have you on the show.
Chris, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
No problem. And happy Groundhog Day to everybody. If you're paying attention to the calendar, I believe it was 6 more weeks of winter.
Yeah.
So, big deal going on that end. And first topic of the day, we have LeBron. He's about 86 points away from hitting that all-time scoring list mark. And what the irony was, there was a lot of people trying to take bets for when he'll break it. And I think a lot of people are looking at the Thunder, the home game against the Thunder.
Yeah.
Because I think the highest ticket price now is $92,000 for that ticket, for tickets.
Wow.
$92,000 for tickets for that game just to see him break it. And I think it's insane.
Absolutely. I mean, how many years has Abdul-Jabbar's record stood for now? What?
Forever.
Yeah.
That record has stood till the end of time.
It's crazy.
You would always thought that another big man would take it, and LeBron being a forward, I think, and him starting fresh out of high school, that helps. That adds to
his longevity, his ability to take care of his body year after year.
And you look at the times when those two played. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, that was a big man league. Well, that was a guard league, and bigs were the high thing, and he was dominating over everybody.
Kareem, he had the hook shot. He had
the sky hook and everything. Yeah. And at that time, nobody could compete with him. And LeBron has had all this competition come along the way, and he also started his career still at a time when the league was still kind of tough. 2003 was still a big body dominant league at that time. You still had to deal with the Pistons. You still had to deal with the Lakers. You still had to deal with even some teams like the Celtics and everybody like that. And even the Wolves with Garnett at that time, it was still lethal, I think.
Amari Stoudemire.
And the Phoenix Suns with Nash and Stoudemire. I think it's crazy to kind of think that time frame and that longevity, you wouldn't expect a guy like anybody to kind of have lived through that. And LeBron has played fathers, he's played sons, at this point he could probably play grandkids, but who knows?
Yeah.
And I think, does the question go with him clearing this title, would that classify him as the greatest of all time?
For me, I can't say based off this title alone that it makes him the greatest of all time. That's a debate that encompasses,
I think that'll
always
be that barbershop debate.
But there absolutely should, because
I think when you look at the careers that a lot of guys had, I mean, the irony is with Kareem's not even in anybody's top 3 all time, which I think is interesting. He's not. Or even top 5. And when people think of top 3 of all time, you look at LeBron, Jordan, and Kobe. Kobe kind of third if you're really kind of pushing it, but
I think you have to be.
I think Curry might make his way up there too, but still.
Yeah, I agree. There's a specific group that advocates for. I think the Kobe is like Jordan, and that's the one thing that I always said, that for guys, if I want them to win the game, if I want one guy to win the game for me, I'm looking at Michael Jordan.
You want Kobe or Michael to win the game.
But LeBron, what he's been able to do and change his game as the dynamics changed in the league, like you said, modify his game and still produce on a nightly basis. I think he's the best in that.
I think the younger generation doesn't understand, when he got rid of that headband, that was a whole different man that came out of the league.
Absolutely.
Headband LeBron was lethal, but when he took the headband off, that was a whole different breed.
He's more savvy now.
Because the headband was his brand. That was his brand.
Yeah.
And then
Cavaliers,
that had the Cavaliers and the Heat, and then after the Heat, when he comes back, there's no headband.
Yeah, it's different. So, even his game's changed. He plays.
I think people still argue the fact that the bubble title should not count towards his legacy. I think you gotta give it. I think you can't, because you look at the time and the world at that moment. It was
the Kobe.
Nobody was. They did not think that the season would still go on. The league made it happen.
Yeah, I remember when Gobert came out with it.
And I think nobody thought. I think you got to understand that it gave players time to heal and it gave players time to rest. That Lakers squad, had that season progressed, yeah, they wouldn't have won the title. But you can't blame COVID for giving them the title. It is what it is, and they won it. Yeah. You would say that about any other team. Had the Heat won, no one would have made that argument. Mm-hmm. They would have said, or they would have countered with, oh, LeBron should have won it. Or at that time, the Clippers should have won it because they were the hottest team at the time. Yes, but they couldn't perform in the clutch. You lost.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's overcoming the circumstances, and they did it.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see which game he breaks. A lot of people say it'll be at home versus Thunder. I think an at home would very well be deserving. I think two guys who, Kareem was with the Lakers.
In his own building, yeah.
Kareem with the Lakers. Let LeBron do it with the Lakers. Why not?
Absolutely.
Both two Lakers owning the top two scoring, resumes of all time. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward from that. Switching our gears to football a little bit, ESPN is getting ready to come out with a new 30 for 30 called The Bullies of Baltimore, where it talks about the 2000 to 2001 Baltimore Ravens squad. And just looking at that squad, I think people forget how lethal that team was. They won Super Bowl 35. They beat the Giants 34-7. They
whooped them.
You look at that defense. You had Rod Woodson. You had Hall of Famers in Rod Woodson and Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis at that time, dominant, not even a question. And then even the offense, Shannon Sharp doing his thing.
Yeah, people forget Shannon.
All in the Hall of Fame. But I think people also underestimate that ESPN kind of did another documentary on a very similar strong defense. It was the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
The 85 Bears. And the Ravens went 12-4 that year. They were second in the conference, but they still were a dominant, lethal team defensively. Like, people forget they gave the fewest amount of yards away. They gave the fewest amount of points away. Their losses were close, if anything, but it was still a dominant team at that time. But then you look at the Bears at that time in 85, they were 15-1. Their only loss came to Dan Marino and the Dolphins, who probably should have won that probably should have been in the Super Bowl, but they weren't.
They were gonna win that.
Bears ended up beating the Patriots 46-10. And Hall of Famers included, especially on the defense, Mike Singletary, who was dominant at his time. Dan Hampton, big defensive lineman. And then Richard Dent, good corner, all in the Hall of Fame. What I did find interesting, and this is kind of a side thing, that both teams, the year that they won the Super Bowl, because the Ravens won it in 2001, and the Bears won it in 86, technically. You take it to the fact that it would have been 86 when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That it was the same year that both teams won a Super Bowl when a tragedy hit everywhere. In 2001 absolutely. Was 9/11.
Yeah.
86, the Challenger exploded. So, I'm not saying like the interesting fact of the day because it's not it's not a happy fact. It was just it's a coincidental that that happens, and it's these things could come in threes. So who knows? 85.
3 is a magic number.
16 years. It would have been 2000. That would have been 2017. I don't think anything happened in 2017, but I could do my info on that one. Yeah. But was there any other defense? I haven't been big as football as I probably could have been. But are there guys that current or past that, or even teams that you could say have been at least at a dominant time,
comparable,
at least close to what these two strong defenses have done?
Yeah, so absolutely. For me, going on your point, offense wins games, defense wins championships, and that's why I think it's a noteworthy documentary. But I really think the Steelers' defense has produced
the Iron Curtain.
Yeah,
that was
they've produced some defenses. Even when
insane. You look at Troy Polamalu, and at that time he was the most dominant linebacker.
James Harrison.
And James Harrison too. They were that defense that Pittsburgh had, and they won a Super Bowl against Arizona. Was insane.
Yeah. After Larry Fitzgerald scored, they took it back down. Big Ben, maybe one of the greatest throws of all time to Santonio in the corner.
That toe touch.
Toe tap, baby. Yeah, that was awesome. But no, they had Ike Taylor. They had, like you said, Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, James Ferrier. Yeah,
there was a
the
there
UVA
was a squad
products.
there was a squad at that time that was still, dominant. They did everything by the book and everything like that.
Their
And it was
defensive
just their
coordinator,
defensive coordinator.
Dick LeBeau.
Yeah, it was amazing that run that they had.
Wild.
And I think when you look at players wise, and I think people forget the Legion of Boom. That's Seattle.
They get overshadowed because
that's because they split up. But when you look at how hard of a hitter Cam Chancellor was from Virginia Tech,
Bam Cam,
how Richard Sherman was also a lethal threat at Stanford.
At the peak of his powers.
When you look at, oh my gosh, I don't think anybody could stop. Earl Thomas was amazing. That whole defensive backfield, that was a threat to the NFL as far as safety concerned, because Cam could knock you out. Richard Sherman can pick you off.
He knocked out Vernon Davis.
Earl Thomas can also deliver a good hit, but he was quick too.
Yeah, safety.
I think people forget that the Legion of Boom was a threat as well.
Yeah.
Later on, like the Iron Curtain was good, but they should have won 2, but glide right by
Gave
that.
it a town. Yeah. That was terrible.
Don't pass it on the 1 yard line. You run it with Sherman.
Yeah, Marshawn.
Or you run it with Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
You run it with Marshawn.
Disgusting.
Other than that, there's just not a whole lot right now, I think. Because you look at the NFL as a lot of a high-scoring game. Because now you see...
There was the Niners defense this year.
The Niners defense was okay. It was more offense than a whole lot of anything else, except
talent on both
Brock
sides
Purdy
of the ball.
trying to haul them to the Super Bowl. He did a great effort, but was not enough. Too many injuries on that team.
Yeah.
I think when you look at Philadelphia, they've been consistent. Not a lot of big names, but they've been very consistent.
They're a good camaraderie on that team. They all
Kansas City right now, and then the Bengals too. Both have really, really great teams. Kansas City just edged that out. I don't believe it, but I think even because that offensive line, you look at Kelsey, Edwards-Helaire, and Watkins, and all them that can punish you on the offense. Mahomes, hopefully he's 100% by Super Bowl, but
Mahomes was making it work with like third stringers. It was pretty impressive.
On 1 foot, he could still do a lot, but time will tell. So, guys, be sure to check out Bullies of Baltimore. I believe it's coming out sometime in March. I believe the end of March, early April. Well, the funny thing is, and I talked about this with LeVar, with ESPN 30 for 30 trying to make a lot of these comebacks, but Netflix has made a lot of their own with the untold stories.
Yes.
And I did see that, and when a while episode back, there was a preview for one. It was Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, with just the clip, no title, no nothing. Do you think ESPN 30 for 30 is working harder so they're not outbeat by Netflix?
Absolutely, yeah. It's your competition that drives the world. Those like we've talked about in the past, like even that episode on East Bay, what took them out of business. It's just advancements and competition.
The internet kind of took over, just easier way to
access.
I think East Bay was a lost art to a lost generation. A lot of this new generation doesn't understand what it was like getting that catalog and actually trying to order. And you had to wait a while, but you got your shoes. You might have had to wait a month, but you got your shoes.
Real shit.
It wasn't same-day shipping, but it is what it is. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, guys. When we come back, we have our one-on-one Hooper profile with St. Francis Terriers men's basketball star Michael Myrie. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Hoop Jack podcast series, guys. And today, for our one-on-one Hooper profile, we have a very special guest from the St. Francis Terriers men's basketball program. We have Mr. Michael Myrie. Michael, great to have you on the show.
I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you.
And do you prefer Michael or Mike? I'm curious.
Mike is fine.
Mike is fine. All right. So I see from your guys' record, you guys are in the middle of the pack. You guys are at an 11-11 record right now. You won your last game, and it was a conference game against LIU. How are you guys looking at, conference wise, and especially after a big win against LIU? How are you guys looking in the conference throughout the season compared to what they probably labeled you in the preseason?
I think we're looking pretty good. We've had a lot of injuries. We're missing one of our both of our veteran guards. So we had a lot of injuries, but now we're starting to gel as a team. Everything's starting to come together, and I think we should make a run in NEC.
And that's good to hear. And I know the conference that you guys are in is a part of the FCS, and it's in the Division 1 area, which is the high up as it can be in the FCS. But I know FCS is different from a lot of the Power 5 schools that are out there. But I can only imagine the competition is still as good as anybody can offer.
Yes, it definitely is. It definitely is. Guys can play at this level as well. Guys can definitely play.
And you've had quite a journey yourself, from the different areas you played basketball, from Maryland to North Carolina and Massachusetts. And like we had talked about, what was the competition like playing at other states and getting to play with different kinds of people and even making good friends with different kinds of people? Have you been able to still keep in touch with them and everything like that?
Yes, definitely. I made a lot of friends when I went to prep school. I played a lot of good players, and when I went to prep school, so I keep up with them, and then also kids from around my area in Maryland. I keep up with them too. So it's pretty good. Going around playing basketball with different people. It's good experience. But I'll probably say the best talent is probably in North Carolina, in the South. It's probably the best talent down there. I'm gonna be honest with you. But Maryland has talent too. So the East Coast has talent, but I think the South has a lot of talent down there.
Yeah, like you said, that's Tar Heel area, the Duke area as well. Big basketball power schools down there in North Carolina. And when did you kind of start getting the idea of I want to give basketball a shot? I want to play it at a high level.
Um, Probably about like what 7 or 8, because I used to watch my brother play, and I always wanted to be like my brother, and he was really good at basketball. He just got hurt, so but I always wanted to be like him. So I was like, one day I wanted to be better than him. So I decided to give basketball a try because I was a football player at first.
So, and were you kind of one of those kids growing up that wanted to try different sports and kind of see what could work out?
Definitely. Definitely. My dad. I mean, honestly, football was my main sport at first. I like football. I played basketball, but like I just played just to play. But eventually, I started to fall in love with basketball, so I stick with it.
And that's good to hear. Oh, you want to have that to want to continue to play at a high level.
Definitely, definitely do.
And you had talked about prep school. You went to after your full high school career. You took a year at the Winchendon School,
Yeah,
prep
that was
school
so
in
cool.
Massachusetts.
Hmm.
Um, we had talked about it kind of prep school. You said it was mainly working out and going to school and kind of doing all that work at the same. So it's basically like college, but it's that middle ground area. Is that correct?
Yeah, and also you're away from home, so you're learning, you're getting to learn how to live on your own. So it really helps you a lot. It really helped me this year, honestly. Going to prep school really helped me.
And after prep school, you made the decision to go play at St. Francis. Walk me through that experience because I know with the times changing, there's the whole deal with transfer portals and
Mhm.
late commits and not knowing where people want to go. What was that journey like for you to officially make it to St. Francis and get on the roster?
It was a lot of weight off my shoulders when I finally committed. I was stressing because I had a really good prep school year. That was my breakout year. I had a really good year, and I was getting a lot of interest in different things from coaches. But when that transfer portal hit, they started to back off me a little bit and try to look for older guys in the portal. So, but St. Francis was only a place that gave me a chance, so I took the chance, and here I am now.
And that's good. They gave you that opportunity, that chance. You've taken full advantage of it as a freshman.
Hmm.
Quality minutes. You're getting buckets, steals. Um, you're doing the work coming off the bench. What have you been able to learn from
the guys ahead of you, the upperclassmen, and as well as the coach?
Basically just adjusting to the college game. It's a lot different than high school. High school, I was running past people with dunking and stuff like that, but in college, they're not gonna let you do that. You're playing against grown men every day, and then everybody can play. Everybody was probably the star at their high school, so everybody can play. That's the biggest thing. I learned a lot from one of our veteran guards on our team. He's a senior. His name is Larry. I learned a lot from him about playing with pace and things like that. Basically, he helped me understand the game a little bit more, and the coaches helped me out as well.
And what are some of the goals that you want to achieve heading near the end of your freshman year? Like I said earlier, you guys are sitting 11-11. I know a good run in the Northeast Conference would be a really great stepping stone.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I mean, just to finish my freshman year, just finish it good, and hopefully we make a run in the NEC playoffs, and hopefully we get to March Madness and stuff like that. Like that, that's one of my goals, honestly.
Absolutely. I know with college athletes now taking that opportunity to kind of be their own brand in a sense with the NIL.
Mm-hmm.
And as a freshman, you're still making your mark. Have you kind of thought about the possibility of the way that you play the game or craft that you have to kind of branch that out into the business world?
I would probably say like I feel like when I start to make a more impact on the court, I
Mm-hmm.
could starting to look into that. Right now, I'm just, you know what I'm saying, getting my feet in the water a little bit. So once I start to make an impact, which is that's going to be soon, then I'll start looking into that.
Absolutely. And you guys have uh you have conference games coming up this week. You have one coming up Thursday night versus Central Connecticut State, and you also have another game. I believe it's this weekend versus Stone Hill, both conference matchups. What are you kind of looking at them to kind of see what you can break, kind of get the edge over both teams?
The biggest thing is just coming in and playing hard, playing together, and basically we're just trying to go 2-0 to so we can stay on the run where we're going on because we just won these past two games. But basically, just play hard. Honestly, try to win these next two games. That's the biggest thing.
Absolutely. And my last, what advice do you give for the next gen basketball players, hoopers wanting to chase the dream to play at the college level?
My biggest thing I would tell them is stay in the gym, always be, always have patience, and always believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing I'll tell them. Stay in the gym, stay dedicated to what you're doing. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Honestly, be patient. You know what I'm saying? Freshman coming in as a freshman, you're not gonna be that guy right away. So you got to work for everything you get. So that's the biggest thing I had to learn. And honestly, believing in yourself, confidence is key. You can't do anything without being confident, without confidence. So that's the biggest thing I'll tell them.
Absolutely. And that's be it, guys. Thank you again, Mike, for taking the time to come on the show. I'm looking forward to seeing you make big waves here in the NEC, and your future college basketball career. I'll be keeping my tabs on you, my man.
Okay, I appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem. We'll be right back with more Hoop Jack, guys. So stay tuned.
And we're back, guys. So I want to thank Michael for taking the time to come on the show. I expect big things from him. I know he's had a long road ahead of him and his long road behind him, but hopefully he'll do big things at St. Francis moving forward. So I know we didn't have to deal with a lot of this in high school because we both play tennis, and usually when you want to argue something, you kind of argue with
make your own calls.
Make your own calls and your opponent. But basketball and football and a lot of other youth sports, and some even at the high school level, and some not really a whole lot at the college level, but in even the professional level, refereeing's a hard job. I think refereeing is honestly one of the more it's one of the hardest jobs to do because everything is not just by the book, but you're watching the game, you're making sure you're making the right call. Everything's a reaction. and I did my share of AAU tournaments. It was not fun. Some were good games. Some were bad. Some could have been some could have been threats. You know, I could have been. You know, there were some threats, but you know, not lethal. But still, I think you know you come out of it. You know what you can learn from the game. Mm-hmm. I think, and I saw this and I thought it was great. You need to. Here's a good way to show parents what it's like to actually ref. You give them an hour and a half of training. You before say they have a kid who's playing say youth baseball or youth soccer, and you train them for an hour. You have them ref another game that's not their kids. You have them ref another game that's not their kids, and see how they do. Mm-hmm. If they can't do it, they have to give you they can't talk anymore about how hard it is how easy it could be being a ref, because it's not. It's not an easy job, and you got to have the strength, because it's a lot of stuff you got to hear.
Oh yeah,
like
mentally.
What kind of call was that, ref? Everything like that, and people don't understand. Like sometimes you can brush it off. Other times it's technical foul or game's over, because I've been on the few times where you have to send out a parent, you have to send out a kid, because it's their attitude. They think they are above it, or they think they entitled that right, and it sometimes gets to a point where it's like, why are we not learning more from our behaviors? Because a lot of parents, think this is okay. Mm-hmm. You can argue with the official. I think arguing with the official is the same thing as arguing with your coach. Would you argue with your coach for more playing time? Would you argue anything like that? I know if we did that, we would not see the court for the light of day. If we argued with, shout out to Coach Pilkington, if we ever argued with him, we would never, ever have played. I know we would have never played. We would have been on the bench, or we would have been doing burpees till next week.
Oh, I hate those.
I know we would have been running suicides for at least a good week. I know we would have.
Doing that anyway.
And we didn't argue at all, because we knew the direction he wanted, and we knew what we wanted to. But I think nowadays you just got to look at it and be just self-aware of what you're doing, because actions have consequences.
That's a good word.
And I think with parents not learning from this and motivating to their kids, do this, do that, what's the ref going to do? Well, I can tell you what the ref's going to do. He's going to throw you out. And you keep encouraging it. That vision of them being a good player going higher up is not what it's going to look like. Because everything's based on attitude. You have a poor attitude during the game, or you try to argue everything that it is, you're not going anywhere, because coaches and scouts are going to be like, all he does is argue. Why would I bring him to this program if all he's going to do is argue? All he's going to do is not, take advice from leaders or coaches or anything up, people who are higher up. If all he's going to do is argue. And I think with a lot of refs quitting, I think right now there's a ref shortage. Like 2/3 of refs are just quitting just because they're over it, they're tired of it.
Just walking out.
And I think, it sucks, but parents just got to parents need to get in control, and kids need to get in control. Because if nothing gets fixed, there will be a point where no one's reffing these games.
We're gonna lose.
Either that or
people
are going to start having to pay higher for refs and higher for leagues, because there's a ref shortage. Mm-hmm. You think about this. The reason there's a gas shortage, gas prices are high because it's a gas shortage. Things go up if there's a short.
Yes, sir.
Don't be surprised if leagues start costing like $40 more, $50 more, because refs, there's not an influx of referees, because referees are going to start wanting to pay like $35 a game. I was only paid like $25 a game for, say, an hour's worth of work.
That's a rip-off. Yeah.
That's some. Yeah. But, I mean, you work...
Say for instance... Well, like a grease monkey.
You're wetting, but, I mean, you think about it, you're inside. Like, I remember one summer I did a tournament. I did 8 games in one day.
Wow.
But $25, $200 in one day goes a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 8 hours of work.
That's good amount of time. Yeah.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you're losing a lot of calories and you're running up and down, but that's all you're doing is running up and down. You're not dribbling the ball. You're
still engaged though.
Like you're still within the game. You're making the calls, going to the bench,
giving that charge. Yeah. There he is.
You got a foul on 23, 2 shots.
I love it.
But still, I mean, do I ever want to go back for the money? Yeah. Do I want to go back for the game? I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm not qualified, but I think it's you know a lot about the game. You know what right call to make.
Yeah, but, your basketball IQ is second to none.
Other than that, it is what it is. Moving right along, we do have the release of the player pool, and what's interesting of what they're doing this year for the All-Star draft is they're drafting them right before they play the game.
Yeah, so kind of like a.
This is new. I'm not a fan of it, but it's interesting. Why prior to the game?
Gunshot approach.
I guess it's shotgun wedding kind of.
There you go. Yeah, shotgun.
So they have the captains, Team Giannis, Team LeBron. They're not doing a West-East. I still think they should.
I missed that. Yeah.
I think forget the draft. Just at least let the players wear their team jerseys. That's what I miss. That's what I miss from the East and the West.
Playing 2K.
Players just wear their jerseys, their home jersey or their away jersey, and you would know, and it would be fire. It would be great for the game. So you look at the starters. I think the only questionable starter I have on here is Zion. I don't think he should be a starter. I think I'm sorry, but he has not shown me that he could be an all-star starter. All-star, yes. Starter, no.
All-star.
It was the same thing when they put Andrew Wiggins as a starter the year before.
Oh boy.
He was a all-star, just not a starter for the game. I think.
Well said.
I think there's at least you could have put Bam Adebayo up there ahead of him. Jaylen Brown has been playing even better than Zion. I mean, Zion has great numbers. That's not what I'm arguing. He should be on the list for the game. I just don't think he's a starter. That's it. That's the only problem with this list. I think everyone else fits. Domantas Sabonis, Julius Randle, Ja Morant should be over Zion. That's the only player right now. Lauri Markkanen's on the list. Damian Lillard, Jaren Jackson Jr. I think what's interesting, you have 2 guys from the Celtics, 2 guys from the Grizzlies,
2 from the Nets,
one from the Knicks,
2
from the Nets, 1 from. I mean, it's a mixed variety.
Yeah.
I think the only one on this list that I feel like should be on it should be De'Aaron Fox. That'd be the only person I would want to have on this list because the Kings have been on fire.
I love how he
plays.
Why has
De'Aaron? I think De'Aaron Fox needs that nod for the starter.
Him and Domantas.
I mean, Sabonis made the list. And really, it's hard to argue anyone else off. It's tough because then you're really arguing, well, who deserves to come off? And right now, from this list, everyone on here deserves it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been the only bright spot for the Thunder, and he's putting up great numbers.
Yeah.
Halliburton has done great work for the Pacers right now. Lillard is coming back and putting up
40.
Putting up 40 nearly for the Blazers. Bam Adebayo's numbers have been hit or miss, and the Heat are struggling. But the irony is, he made the list and Butler did not.
Yeah, surprised.
And Butler's just not been playing well this year.
He's got the name, but
struggling, and it's not great.
He looks slow.
DeMar DeRozan, with his age, he's doing really well right now with the Bulls.
He's nice.
I think it'll be interesting to see what moves forward from this. I think the concept is good. The fact that the All-Star game is trying to do better, I think, and we talked about this last week, I think the next thing you should do, you got to stop doing Team LeBron and Team Giannis in drafting. You have to go back to the East and West, but here's what you do. Make it so how they do it for the MLB All-Star game. If the West wins, they get home court advantage for the NBA Finals. If the East wins, they get home court advantage for the NBA Finals. I think that would be fair.
That's cool.
Because that way it would mean something. Because the MLB hasn't changed, and it's decent. The NFL is a joke for the for the Pro Bowl.
Out there playing dodgeball. Yeah.
Pro Bowl is they don't even play the football game anymore. It's a joke. They stopped playing the game. It's a free trip to Hawaii. Who cares? At that point, who cares? The NBA All-Star Game, we're in Utah, but at least make it interesting.
Yeah.
The one thing we did add last week was skip the NBA dunk contest. Give it to the guys who actually do dunks for a living on TikTok and YouTube. Make it a cash prize.
I like a time, man.
Make it a cash prize for them. But other than that, hopefully the All-Star Game is well this year. Sunday, February 19th. That's only 3 weeks away.
Time flying
flies. We're already in February. Jeez. I swore it was just January 1st.
Seize the day.
It's crazy. Before we go, quick shout out to the brands that we're working with. Boosted Biz, getting our merch line out there. Kenichi Bear making a great quality headphones. I know they're a boxing company, but shout out to them. They do great work. Shop GLD if you're looking for some good chains, especially to rep your team for NFL, NHL, NCAA, and NBA. Make sure to check them out as well. We're doing a lot more with YouTube, TikTok, everything like that. Make sure to check it out. Before we go, we always like to do a little, keep in mind everything going, kind of checking in on everybody. And I know that people like to say, I'm fine, I'm okay. Well, they say that. Sometimes it's not always true. Because trust me, I will be the first one to say that I'm fine, I'm good, all right.
Brush it off.
But I think it's just, it's how we deal with things. It's how we don't, especially me, I don't like to put my problems to other people, because then it's like I'm putting that on you. I'd rather have, I'll worry about it later. It's not important right now, and we'll move forward. But I think there has to be times where you just go and talk to somebody, whether it's, therapist or just friends, or even listen to some music to just calm you down. Find things to calm you down. I know mine is, every day I go to work, and every day, the kids that I teach, they keep my head straight. They make me focused. Kids here and there, but at the end of the day, you just gotta find things to take care of. Find things that'll keep your head busy and keep your mind focused. Because if you're not focused and everything like that, then you're letting other things get in the way of the dream that you may have.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this podcast is mainly sports, but we also kind of just like to, we bring the human aspect out of it, because it's just, we're all human. We all have emotions. We all have feelings. We all go through difficult times, and we have different ways to process it, and it's okay, because it's how we process it. It's how we work. It's how we get through each and every day.
Absolutely.
So I know things right now may not be the best situation, but it's still early. Things will be different. Things will heal. Time will tell, and everything like that. Other than that, I think everyone just have a great weekend. Be safe. Stay warm. It's starting to get cold. I know tomorrow's supposed to hit Saturday is supposed to hit 30.
Yeah, you might get some ice pellets. Yeah.
If we get snow, this area will not survive. I'm just letting you know. Virginia Beach does not do well with snow, folks. It does not. Other than that, guys, thank you for tuning into the show. Make sure to hit that follow, that like button, and especially on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel, especially, and follow us on TikTok, HootJack2021, Facebook, Instagram. I don't think I left anything out, but
you hit them all.
I think the only ones that I missed were for the older generation, like Twitter. You can find us on Twitter. I know I'm missing one. Gosh, I'm thinking of the older generation. I can't think of it right now. Stuff that we never used, but I can't think of it right now.
Yeah,
it makes
I'm lost.
I bet it'll come to me when I get the chance. But everyone have a great weekend. Keep being safe. Do the best you can. And remember, don't be a bystander. Be a hooper. And keep balling. Peace.